For us to be successful from here on out, I think that's where the score needs to be.
Well, based on what John Glenn's JV did, I would have to agree with you.
That was impressive, to say the least.
Yeah.
Brad Thomas, I'm David Musselman. Here we go in the championship game, the consolation. Jeez, got a sectional on my mind.
Right.
The tip goes to John Glenn, and the first 2 points of the game go to Matt Strong, and now Falcons in the full court press, and Rochester turns it over. Macknick to Strong, drives the baseline, floater on the way is off the backboard, no good, and the rebound to Knotts. A.J. Knotts with the basketball, and he'll bring it up for the Rochester Zebras.
That's what we were talking about. John Glenn, very active, very quick with the hands.
You're not kidding.
We just about found ourselves down 4 in the first 10 seconds.
Ben Perez, left side to Lee, to Knotts, and Knotts' pass is knocked out of bounds by John Glenn's Strong. Going to be baseline left to the Zebras. Knotts will look to trigger it in underneath his own basket, baseline left. Knotts looking, still looking. Throws it in the backcourt. It's a foot race for it and picked up by Wallace. Wallace on the baseline, going to be knocked out of bounds by Wilson Lee. It's going to stay with John Glenn after a Rochester turnover, baseline right. So Wallace will look to trigger it in, baseline right for the Falcons. 2-0 John Glenn, 40 seconds gone. Gets it into Runyon. His leaner off the glass is good. And the Falcons up 4-0. Full court press by John Glenn. Wilson Lee against the trap in the backcourt. Dribbles further into the lane, or further into the corner, I should say. Gets it to Knotts and crosses the timeline to Reinhold. Jordan, left wing, top of the key to Lee. Lee holds the basketball. John Glenn in the man-to-man defense to Perez. Baseline to Reinhold. Jordan on the right side of the floor. Now top of the key to Knotts. A.J. with the ball above his head. Back to the right wing to Reinhold. Jordan now backs it out and resets. Now left side to Knotts. Quickly to Perez. Behind the arc are the Zebras to Bennett. And we're going to have a foul down low on Strong. And that'll be out of bounds to Rochester with a minute 13 gone in the first quarter. John Glenn leading 4-0.
Swatting at the basketball and got caught on the wrist.
So Lee will look to get it in. Baseline left around Wallace. Lobs it in to Reinhold. Jordan at the free throw line. Leaner on the way over the defense is short. And the rebound to Runyon. Runyon pushes on the right wing. Now slows up and quickly gives to Macknick. Outside to Wallace. Now to Runyon. Swings left side to Strong. Strong with the basketball. Macknick hesitates, drives, throws up a shot. It's no good, but a foul coming on the Zebras.
Well, how good is Runyon when he can pull the ball off the board on a defensive rebound and bring it up the floor himself and lead the fast break.
That's a big deal. No reason to outlet when you can do it yourself. Yeah. So Mike Macknick at the line to shoot 2 for John Glenn. The first one of the way is good, and John Glenn out 5-0. Minute and a half gone in the first quarter. Falcons at the line for one more. Macknick's second one on the way, and it's good again. 6-0 John Glenn. They stay in that full court press. Knotts gets it into Reinhold in the corner. Over the top of the defense. Ooh, grazes the
bottom of the net.
The net on John Glenn's rim. Rochester gets it across the timeline to Reinhold. I've never seen a basketball against the full court press go in the other team's goal. But I guess there's always a first time, isn't there?
Right,
Macknick rips the ball and runs through the middle of the floor. Left side to Strong. 3 left wing. He's in and out. No good. Defensive rebound to Bennett. Gavin Bennett clears to Reinhold. Rochester pushes. 6-0. 2 minutes gone in the first quarter. John Glenn with the basketball, or with the lead. Rochester the basketball. Lee, right elbow, wrap around pass to Reinhold. Jordan stands behind the arc in the right wing. Man-to-man defense by John Glenn. Goes to his left. Accelerates right on the baseline. Out to Bennett. Gavin 15 feet away. Loses the handle. Ball loose on the floor. John Glenn hits the floor. So does Bennett. And he has his pass stolen away by Strong. Cross lane pass to Wallace. Has his shot knocked out of bounds. And it will stay with the Falcons baseline left as Alec Holland comes into the game for the first time.
Well, Holland will give him a little bit more ball handling, trying to come up against that full court pressure zone.
Wallace lobs it into Runyon, and before he comes down, puts the ball up. Shot off the back of the rim, no good. And Ben Perez with the basketball, or the rebound, and gives to Reinhold. Jordan Reinhold will bring it up the floor. Coming up at halftime, and then throws it away. Coming up at halftime, Becky Malco will join us.
Oh, great.
Lady Zebra guard. Maybe Alexa Holland. Maybe. We're still trying to work on her a little bit.
I was going to say, was she the only one that answered your text?
Yeah, and actually, when she answered the text, she didn't answer the text. She just looked at me from across the gym and just shook her head no.
No.
Strong with the basketball around the top of the defense to Haddon. Haddon to Macknick. Wide open is Wallace. His three is off the back of the rim. No good. Offensive rebound.
Ooh.
To Strong. Over the top of the defense to Runyon. Straight away three. Top of the key is good. And it's 9-0 John Glenn with 3 minutes gone in the first quarter. Holland to Bennett. Bennett around the defense. Wrap around pass to Lee. Good hands by Wilson Lee. Gives right side to Reinhold. Jordan down to Bennett. His lean in the lane is short. And the rebound to Wallace. Gives to Runyon. John Glenn runs up 9-0. Runyon. No look pass to Manick. Macknick outside to Strong, and he's fouled going to the basket. It'll be out of bounds to John Glenn. 4.5 to play in the first quarter.
So the foul's on Reinhold, his first, team second.
So out of bounds is John Glenn. Wallace lobs it in. Runyon, 10-footer, good.
Runyon now with 7 of the 11.
Four-court press, ball knocked away. Wilson Lee gets it back down to Reinhold to the right wing. Jordan picks up the dribble to the top to Holland. Baseline to Bennett. Drives the baseline, throws it up, and it puts it in for 2. Nice strong move by Gavin Bennett. And Rochester on the board, 11-2. 4:10 to play, first quarter. Wallace to Strong, high on the right side to Runyon. Thought about a three over the top of the defense to Strong. Drives it left to the left elbow. Macknick on the left baseline to Wallace. Wallace runs around Reinhold. Gives top of the key to Haddon. Haddon back to Macknick. Drives it left on the baseline. Nice defense by Wilson Lee. Out to Haddon, three, left wing. No good off the side of the rim. And the ball is rebounded by the offense. And John Glenn with it resets to Wallace on the left wing for John Glenn. Runyon, top of the key at the volleyball line, right side to Macknick. Against a double team. And he tried to dribble out of that, and he's going to be fouled on the dribble with 3.5 to play in the first quarter. Again, John Glenn up 11-2.
Perez going to pick up his second.
Brett Abbott comes into the game for the first time for Rochester. Knotts reports back in. Wilson Lee and Ben Perez will come out. Brad Thomas, David Musselman with you on Rochester High School. We're midway through the first quarter with John Glenn leading 11-2. Wallace will look to trigger it in, and now we're going to have an illegal screen down low. Is that going to be on Strong?
They are, yep. It's going to be on Strong, his second.
Into the game for the first time is Colin Barker, a 6'3 sophomore, and Barker replaces Strong for the Falcons. 3.5 to play first quarter, 11-2, John Glenn. Alec Holland brings it up the floor. Abbott yet to cross the timeline, passes across to Knotts. Left side, now left baseline to Bennett. And has this pass taken away by Runyon. Jumped right in that passing lane. Nice move with that senior. Runyon, left-handed finger roll, no good, but a foul coming in Rochester. And Runyon will go back to the line to shoot 2.
That was a pretty impressive move by Runyon. Once he left the floor to go up for the shot, he switched hands.
Yeah.
Kind of like, well, not nearly as impressive as what Michael Jordan did when he switched the hands.
No, but it was pretty close.
But it was a close imitation, yeah.
Runyon's first one is good. By the senior, he'll have one more. You know, there's an official on the court right now that we talked before the game, and I said, I haven't roasted an official in a long time, but he might get his tonight. Free throw no good. Offensive rebound to John Glenn.
I don't know if it's a good thing if he can hear you from here or not.
3 on the way for John Glenn. No good. Runyon rises up.
Oh.
Puts a shot back up off the offensive board and is fouled again. He'll go back to the line to shoot 2. I played softball with him for a long, long time.
A foul on Knotts, his first, team fourth.
So Runyon back at the line to shoot 2 for John Glenn. They lead by 10 at 12-2. Alec Runyon fires the first one. It's good. He'll have one more. Brad Thomas, I'm David Musselman.
Runyon with 9 of the 13 points for John Glenn.
Yeah, I can remember playing. Remember him last year.
Oh,
boy,
yeah.
he was special to junior. Second one on the way, but the young man is good again.
That's his
timeout, Rochester. It's a 30. You're listening to Zebra Basketball, 92.1 WROI. 3:08 to play in the first quarter. John Glenn leads 14-2. And after the Rochester timeout, the Zebras will have it going to our left. Jordan Reinhold will look to trigger it in. And Alec Holland will walk it up. And John Glenn right now, Brad, looks like they'll fall back in a 2-3 zone that extends out to the volleyball line. Yep. Abbott watches it go right through his hands and out of bounds, and John Glenn going to get it back.
That's 6 turnovers now for Rochester.
Macknick runs the point for John Glenn in the center circle. Rochester in a man-to-man. Right elbow pass to Runyon. Right side to Manick. To Wallace, and Alec Holland steals it. Pushes left hard, spots up 3. Left wing is no good, and the rebound to Knotts. Back to Holland, left baseline. Around the defense to Reinhold. Right side to Abbott. Baseline to Bennett. Drives hard. Bennett rises up. Short. Gets his own rebound. Ball actually now being tipped around. And whoo! There was a collision in that corner, and the ball goes off the hands of Bennett, and John Glenn will get it back. Billy Harness, a 6'3 junior, checks into the game for John Glenn, and Wallace will come out. So John Glenn with the basketball going to our right. Running to the right wing, and now we're going to have another legal screen.
It's going to be on Harness. His first, team third.
2:20 to play in the first quarter. Glenn leading 14-2.
Well, the Zebras have done a pretty good job of attacking the baseline against this zone of John Glenn, but they haven't been real successful in getting the ball in the hole.
Bennett over the top to Reinhold, left wing, 3 on the way is an air ball. Rebounded by Bennett, backs his way in the lane, kicks it out to Knotts. Knotts on the right side of the floor, gives to Bennett. Bennett goes hard to the basket, rises up, shot at the glass and good. 14-4, under 2 to play in the first quarter. Macknick against Bennett. Right side to Harness. Harness against Holland, top of the key. Now back to Harness. Dribbles away from the defense, high on the left side to Runyon. Runyon gets a screen, works to the left wing, picks up his dribble, now to Harness. Left baseline 3 is off the back of the rim, no good. Knotts with the rebound. AJ clears to Reinhold. Rochester runs to our left, down by 10. 90 seconds to play in the first quarter. High on the right side is Abbott. Abbott against Harness in the man-to-man defense. Top to Knotts. Knotts works against Barker. Minute 15. Now to Abbott on the right side, behind the arc on the wing. Boy, Bennett begging for the basketball. Give the man the ball. Down low to AJ Knotts. His turnaround jumper from 5 feet is good. Runyon hesitates, accelerates to the free throw line, steps back. The 18-footer is good. And it's 16-6, 50 seconds. Knotts, shot no good, running into the rebound. 40 seconds.
Ooh. Rochester might want to consider a triangle on 2 and put 2 people on Runyon.
Harness goes to the basket, blocked from behind by Reinhold, picked up by Bennett.
Can you do that?
Sure.
No, why not? Yeah.
Abbott with 25, stands behind the arc in the right corner. And now we're going to have a foul down low. Is that going to be on Glenn? Boy, Bennett working hard on the block. It is. It's going to be a foul against Barker. You need to give him the ball. He is working really hard. Give him the ball.
They need to spread their spacing out a little bit so they can create a passing lane.
Congratulations to the 8th grade boys. They continue in the Running Rivers tourney. They beat McConaughey today. Knotts saves them going out of bounds. Right there's Bennett in the paint. Outside of Reinhold. Top to Holland with 9 seconds. 3 is good for Alec Holland. With 5, with 4, with 3, and that's going to do it. Macknick, 3-quarter court at the buzzer is no good. After 1, John Glenn leads 16-9. You're listening to Zebra Basketball, 92.1 WROI.
Starting the second quarter of Zebra Basketball.
Going to the second quarter, John Glenn leading 16-9. It'll be Rochester basketball going to our left. Brad Thomas, I'm David Musselman. Again, coming up at halftime, Rochester Lady Zebra basketball player, senior guard Becky Malco will join us at the break. Talk about last weekend's big win for the Lady Zebras.
Right.
And maybe preview Eastbrook on Saturday. It's a noon start. Wilson Lee, 15-footers, no good. Weak side rebound to John Glenn. Macknick runs down the loose basketball, picks it up now to Runyon. Runyon over the top of the defense to Macknick. In the corner to Barker. Down low to Harness. Layup is good. Congratulations, the eighth grade boys. They beat Mechanical tonight in the second round of the Running Rivers tournament, 57-21. And the three for Holland, before the three was hit, Holland hits the deck and travels.
Shuffled his feet as he come around the corner off the pick.
So Glenn going to get it back up by 9. 30 seconds gone in the second quarter. Macknick works to the left wing for the Falcons. Now top of the key to Haddon. Haddon around the defense, gives to Barker, left side to Harness. Harness to Runyon, top of the key. Runyon just inside the arc. Her jumper draws nothing but air, safe from going out of bounds. Down low to Runyon, and he puts it in for 2. Nice feed by Macknick. Nice job by Haddon saving the basketball from going out of bounds. To Macknick, to Runyon, 2 points. 11-point lead again for John Glenn. Reinhold, spinner, leaner, no good, but a foul coming on John Glenn, and Reinhold will go to the line to shoot 2 for the Zebras.
That foul's coming on 30. Okay.
Macknick.
Yep.
So Jordan has 2. Sophomore eyes it, flies it, and buys it. He'll have one more. One more coming for Jordan Reinhold. Looking to cut this lead to 9, and he does so with 2 freebies. It's 20-11. Macknick runs the point for the Falcons. Works against Lee. Top of the key. Works right wing. Feeds inside to Runyon. Runyon then is fouled on the reach in by Jordan Reinhold. And it'll be out of bounds to John Glenn, baseline right.
That'll be Reinhold's second.
So coming back into the game is Wallace, and coming out is Haddon. And now Wallace will look to trigger it in, baseline right. Bounce pass into Runyon. Fakes the handoff, drives the baseline. Nice defense by Reinhold. Now out to Wallace in the right wing. Wallace around the screen, works to the top of the key. Woo! Jordan Reinhold lucky he can pick up another foul. Outside to Macknick. Now in the corner to Harness. 3 for John Glenn is in and out, no good. And the rebound to Abbott. Brett rips and runs for the Zebras. Middle of the floor, 6:20 to play in the first half. The ball's turned over, stolen by Macknick. He travels, no call, out to Runyon. Runyon in the middle of the floor, dumps down low to Harness. His shot no good, but a foul coming on Rochester. And that's going to send Harness to the line to shoot 2 for the Falcons.
Foul's going to be on Holland. Oh, I'm sorry, Abbott, his first.
So Daniel Wallace, a 6-foot senior, at the line to shoot 2 for John Glenn. First on the way from the righty, and it's good. One more coming, 21-11. John Glenn on top. One more for Harness. Second on the way is good again, nothing but net. And Gavin Bennett will come back into the game, and Bennett will replace Jordan Reinhold. Full court press by John Glenn. Bennett comes across the timeline. Backs his way into the lane. Down low to Bennett. Now to Ben. Foul's coming on John Glenn.
At the line for the Zebras, number 40, Perez, shooting 2.
So the foul was on 44, Mago, his first, team 6th. And Perez's first free throw is good.
Ben Perez with one more. Rochester shooting good free throws. I mean, shooting well at the free throw line.
Yeah.
Second one for Ben Perez is good again.
4 for 4.
22-13. 2 minutes gone in the second half, or second quarter. Coming up at halftime, the Rochester family will present John Glenn a check for Isaac Porgy, as we talked about in the pregame, to help maybe offset some cancer treatment costs that he's going through. Yeah. Wallace will get it in, gets it back from Macknick. Macknick around the defense. Left wing pass to Macknick. To Runyon, right at the ankles. Ball's loose. Wilson Lee slides, picks it up, gives to Holland. Holland right side of the floor. Across lane pass to Deshaun. He lays it up for 2.
Good hustle by the Zebras that time.
22-15. Rochester can use a stop here. Runyon, 3, right wing for the Falcons. No good. Off to the supports. Going back to Rochester. Hey, I like it. Yeah. Rochester just down by 7, and here come the Zebras.
Taking advantage of some miscues by John Glenn, getting a couple of buckets.
Haddon back into the game, and Macknick comes out for the Falcons. Wilson Lee to Holland. Alec through the double team, dribbles away from the defense. Now to Bennett on the left baseline. Bounce pass is taken away by Runyon. Runyon, middle of the floor for John Glenn. Goes all the way to the basket, throws up a shot. We're going to have a blocking foul on Alec Holland, and I believe that'll be 2 on Holland. .5:10 to play, first half. John Glenn up 22-15, and both teams, Brad, from here on out will shoot free throws.
Yeah.
So Alec Runyon at the line to shoot 2. Eyes the first one, lets it fly, and it's no good. Hits the front of the rim, the side of the rim, and falls off the right side of it. One more coming for the senior.
He's got 14 points now in the ball game.
Wow. Yeah, smooth. Second one for Runyon is no good again.
Wow.
And then Wilson Lee with the rebound.
Been quiet here in the second quarter, though.
Deshaun, left wing for Rochester. Zach Deshaun, newly in the basketball game, 1 dribble to his left, out to Holland right in front of the scores table. Alec Holland against the man-to-man defense. Left elbow pass to Bennett. Gavin feeds to Lee, out to Bennett, behind the arc of the left wing with 4:45 to play in the first half. Bounce pass to Holland. Alec fakes a 3. Gives left side to Lee. Baseline to Deshaun. Deshaun over the top of the defense to Bennett. Top of the key, right side to Lee. Wilson Lee standing on the 3-point line. Now to Bennett, top of the key, left side to Deshaun. Zach with the basketball against Runyon. Lobs inside to Ben Perez. Great entry pass. Great finish for Ben Perez. And it's 22-19.
Nice catch by Perez, right on the fingertips, and turned and shot it all in one motion.
Harness, 3 on the way for John Glenn. No good. And that 3 taken by Haddon, who was knocked to the floor, no call. Rochester has it. Down low to Ben Perez. Leaner on the way is no good. Rebound fought for. Perez comes out of there with it. Kicks it out. That pass is stolen. Is it 22-17? Oh, okay. I thought we made a bucket, and then the entry pass is knocked away by Alec Holland. It'll stay with John Glenn, and now the Falcons will use a timeout. It is a 60. You're listening to Zebra Basketball, 92.1 WROI.
I think she might have leaked 15.
Oh, okay.
Might have been 22-15.
Three minutes, 56 seconds to play in the first half. John Glenn leading 22-17. Wallace gets it into Runyon and Coach Hanna not very happy with the effort of his team right now. Harness works against Deshaun, gives him the corner to Haddon. Haddon against Abbott. One dribble towards the basket, gives to Runyon on the right wing. Runyon holds against Wilson Lee. Drives it right hard, goes to the basket. Floater on the way is good as it rolls around and falls through. 24-17. John Glenn back to 7. Wilson Lee around the defense, now to Abbott. Brett yet to cross the timeline. Here comes a half-court trap by the Falcons. Gives to Wilson Lee. Outside to Deshaun. Zach to Abbott. Right side to Lee. Lee behind the arc. Gives to Deshaun, top of the key. Thought about a three. Picked up his dribble after one dribble. Now to Abbott on the left wing. 3 minutes to play first half. Rochester down by 7. Abbott jumps top at the free throw line. Baseline to Bennett. Gavin drives hard. Rises up from 10 feet and it goes in.
So right now, Bennett, the only one looking to shoot the basketball for the Zebras.
And the lead down to 5. Favor of John Glenn at 24-19. Runyon against Holland. Takes him left. High on the left side to Haddon. Haddon fakes the pass to the baseline. Outside to Wallace. Now to back to Haddon. No, Harness that is. Harness on his hip. Dribbles off the hip and no call. Outside to Runyon. Quickly to Harness on the right baseline. Here comes a double team. Harness being double teamed, gives him the baseline. Outside to Wallace. Quickly left side to Haddon. Now to Runyon. John Glenn taking their time.
Yeah,
they are. Rochester playing good defense right now. Harness over the top to Wallace. In the corner to Haddon. 3 is no good. Offensive rebound. Ball being tipped around out of bounds. Off of Harness, so they go back to Rochester. Boy, the Zebras lucky to get that one back. Back into the game is Barker. And Mago comes out. Brad Thomas, I'm David Musselman. 2:10 to play first half, 24-19. John Glenn, the Zebras will have the basketball going to our left and will be working against the full court press.
John Glenn not really attacking the basket as much as they were in that first quarter. They're more content to throw it around the perimeter now, looking to try and find somebody slashing or cutting instead of making a move to the basket.
Lee, Deshaun, 3 right wing is off the mark, no good. And the rebound to Wallace. Wallace around the defense, goes to the baseline. Pull-up jumper is no good. The putback by Harness is good. Nice follow by Harness to put it in for 2. And the pass down low to Bennett. Gavin Leaner off the glass is good again. 26-21. 100 seconds to play in the first half.
Bennett with 8 now for the Zebras.
Runyon left wing. And his pass is picked off and stolen by Abbott. Abbott middle of the floor for Rochester. Jump stops. Leaner. No foul. A lot of contact. Lee comes out of the with it. Gives it to Sean. Left side to Holland. Alec to Lee. 1:20 to play in the first half. Rochester only down by 5. Holland's turnaround 10-footer is good, and Rochester only down by 3 at 26-23. 70 seconds to play first half. 26-23 Glenn. Baseline to Haddon. Haddon, Wallace, top to Runyon. He looks back, looks at the clock. Now to Wallace on the right side against Deshaun. Harness still with the basketball. Gives him the baseline to Haddon. Down low, ball taken away by Bennett. Gives to Holland. Rochester with an opportunity to tie on this trip. 45 seconds to play first half. Rochester down by 3. Near side to Abbott. Abbott against the man-to-man defense to Lee. Back to Abbott near the timeline and the sideline. 35 seconds around the defense. Behind his back dribble near the timeline. Down the center circle. And his pass is taken away by Runyon. His right-handed layup no good, but Brett Abbott will go to the line to shoot. I'm sorry, he commits the foul. Runyon will go to the line to shoot 2. And that's just a lazy pass.
Yeah, Abbott picks up his second foul.
Number 4, Abbott. His second, team 9.
So going to the line will be Runyon again. Jordan Reinhold will come in at the next opportunity.
Runyon 3 of 6 from the free throw line.
Yeah, that surprises me a bit.
Yeah.
Runyon eyes the first one. And it's good. He'll have one more. So Reinhold back in. Abbott to sit down. 24.7 to play in the first half. John Glenn back up by 4. One more for Runyon. Looking to push this John Glenn lead back to 5. And he does so with 2 freebies. Full court press by the Falcons. Reinhold into Deshaun. Deshaun now to Wilson Lee. Down low to Bennett. Gavin Bennett. Leaner on the way. No good. Puts it back in. Is good.
Bennett with 10 now for the Zebras.
12 seconds. 3-point lead. Out to Haddon with 10. Now to Runyon. Holds with 7. Running high on the left side, holds with 5. Works to his right with 4. Gets a screen. Long 3 from the volleyball line is no good. Bennett grabs the board, and we're at halftime. John Glenn at the break leads 28-25. Halftime show coming up next on 92.1 WROI.
If they can continue to get him the ball down low, I think he's got enough athleticism and enough height advantage down there that he can get the ball up on the glass. Good things can happen.
Don't forget Friday night, the Rochester guys back at home with Wabash. The Apaches come into that basketball game. Again, Rochester and Wabash will play Friday night. The 6:15 JV tip with a 7:30, 7:45 pregame show on WROI. Then Saturday at noon, the Lady Zebras in the first round of the regional will play Eastbrook. And hopefully in this championship game on Saturday night and against either Lafayette Central Catholic or Frankton.
Right.
And Rochester grabs the turnover. Bennett gives to Holland. Holland across the timeline right. Rochester down by 3. Lee gives left side to Reinhold. Jordan to the basketball to Ben Perez. Right side to Lee. Feeds down low to Bennett. Gavin backs his way in. Double team out to Lee. Oh, I thought he was going to chuck it. Out to Reinhold.
Well, I would like to have seen Bennett go up with it. He had it within 3 feet of the bucket.
Holland down low to Ben Perez. Leaner off the glass is good, and Rochester within 1.
And Perez found himself wide open on the opposite block. Did a great job of moving the ball around and getting to him.
28-27 earlier tonight. John Glenn defeated Rochester's JV 77-36. So John Glenn to the basketball. Macknick drives the baseline hard. Push off, no call. In the lane to Strong, no good. Offensive rebound. Now to Runyon, top of the key. Rochester in a 2-3 zone. Left side to Strong. Left baseline cut off by the defense. Haddon now with the basketball against Reinhold. Haddon to his right. Right side to Macknick. Right corner to Wallace. Wallace outside to Haddon. 3 left baseline's no good. Reinhold with the board. Rochester brings it up down by 1. 1:15 gone in the third quarter. Down low to Bennett. Goes to the glass. Rises up. Shot is good, and Rochester leads 29-28.
Good strong shot by Bennett. He got a little contact as he went up for the shot on the elbow, but he continued to concentrate on what he was doing and made the bucket.
Wallace has the bounce pass for Macknick. Back to Macknick. Baseline to Wall. Down low to Runyon. Jumper no good, but a foul coming on Rochester. And that's going to send Runyon to the line to shoot 2. Is that going to be on Holland?
It is on Holland. That's his second.
So Runyon will go to the line to shoot 2 for John Glenn. Rochester up 29-28. 6:18 to play, third quarter. Runyon's first one is good, and we're tied at 29. One more coming for the Falcons, looking to go back up here by 1. Alec Runyon is 6'5" senior. Fires a second one, short. And the rebound to Perez. Nice job by Ben Perez fighting for the basketball. Wilson Lee gives to Holland. Holland on the right wing for Rochester. We're tied at 29. Throws in the backcourt. It's tipped in the backcourt. Wilson Lee picks it up. Lee around the defense. Now to Holland through the center circle. Left side to Reinhold. Jordan been pretty quiet here in this basketball game. Back to Holland in the center circle. Alec directs traffic. Right side to Lee. Back to Holland. High on the left side from way downtown. It's no good. And the offensive rebound to Lee, who was standing on the out-of-bounds line when he grabbed it.
That's good effort by Wilson Lee to chase that down. He just couldn't keep his feet in bounds.
So we're tied at 29, 5:40 to play in the third. Macknick around the defense to Wallace. Wallace behind the arc on the right side. Rochester still in that 2-3 zone to Macknick, top of the key. Back to Wallace, right wing. Fakes a 3, feeds down low to Strong, goes in. Strong now to Macknick. Macknick has the ball loose. It's on the floor. Gives to Haddon. Back to Macknick, and Ben Perez runs over Haddon.
Perez is going to pick up his third.
RMS defeated Logan Lincoln tonight, 28-25 in the 8th grade game.
Okay.
We'll get in the 7th grade score here momentarily. Back into the game is Brett Abbott, and coming out is Ben Perez with 3 personals.
Zebra's playing his own, but Alec Holland fronting Runyon so that he couldn't get the inlet pass.
He was the difference in that first half for sure. Haddon around the defense in the corner to Strong. Matt Strong, top of the key to Wallace to Runyon. Runyon against the defense, works to the top of the key. Right side Haddon back to Runyon. Oh, wide open three. He passes it up, runs over Gavin Bennett, no call, and brings it out behind the arc to Wallace high on the right side. Wallace over the top of the defense to Runyon, drives it right hard. Gives to Macknick on the baseline, cut off by the double team. Outside to Wallace. Nice defense by the Zebras. 4:40 to play in the third quarter, tied at 29. Strong in the paint, rises up over the defense, no good. Bennett with the rebound. His pass is tipped away and stolen by Haddon. Down low to Runyon, his layup is good, and John Glenn back up. 31-29. Full court press by John Glenn. Lead to Reinhold. Jordan against the double team over the top to Bennett, or make that Abbott, knocked out of bounds by Macknick. The 7th grade girls basketball team won tonight 33-13 over Logan Lincoln. Thank you, D. Brown. Holland left wing to Reinhold.
John Glenn trying to force Rochester into stretching those passing lanes longer and longer, and when they do, then they jump the lane and get the steal.
Glenn leads 31-29. Abbott between the rings. Down low to Bennett. Bennett rises up, partially blocked. In midair, grabs the rebound and puts it back before coming down, and we're tied again at 31. Macknick, left wing pass to Runyon. Runyon in the corner to Haddon. Back to Runyon on the left wing. 3:45 to play in the third quarter. We're tied at 31 here at Rochester High School. Macknick in the corner, high on the right side of Wallace, swings left wing to Runyon. Runyon a couple of dribbles to his right, switches directions, goes to the left elbow, now to Haddon on the baseline. Nice job by Bennett, cutting him off on the baseline. He kicks it out to Runyon. 2-3 zone by the Zebras. Strong, puts a forearm in the throat of Bennett, no call. Now to Macknick from the elbow. Jumper's no good. Rebound by Haddon. Ball loose on the floor. We're going to have a tie up, and it's going to go to Rochester. Rochester and John Glenn tied at 31 with 3:14 to play in the third quarter. Rochester will look to bring it up against the full court press. Holland gets it back from Abbott, gives it ahead to Reinhold. Jordan on the timeline, around the defense, hasn't knocked away from behind, ball loose, gives it out to Bennett, and he's back to the timeline to Reinhold, or to Alec Holland. Alec Holland in the center circle, left side to Abbott. Brett holds against the man-to-man defense, and now we're going to have a travel on Brett Abbott. It'll go back to John Glenn.
14th turnover on Rochester.
So John Glenn will take a 30-second timeout. You're listening to Zebra Basketball, 92.1 WROI. .255 to play. In the third quarter, we're tied at 31 at Rochester High School. And after the John Glenn timeout, it'll be the Falcons basketball going to our left. Runyon will look to trigger it in. And Reinhold will apply a little man-to-man token pressure in the backcourt. Brad Thomas, I'm David Musselman.
Another TRC score to pass along. Maconaquah leads Tippecanoe Valley at halftime, 34-26.
Runyon, Rochester in the 2-3 zone, but Rochester chasing Runyon all over the floor. Oh, there's a charge and no call. And
off of
Wallace knocks it out of bounds, and that's about the third or fourth time John Glenn has gotten away with a forearm in the chest or in the throat in some cases. Jordan Reinhold over the top of the defense to Holland in the corner to Abbott. Back to Holland high on the left side. We're tied at 31, 2:25 to play in the third quarter. Brett Abbott jump stop, lobs it into Bennett. That is there all night. Bennett can jump higher than anybody else on the floor. That is there all night, and he is fouled on the reach-in by John Glenn.
The foul's going to be on Wallace. That's his first.
Mago comes back in. Also in for the first time is Young.
Yeah, with Runyon for John Glenn playing out front on the point, that leaves Bennett with an advantage down low if they get the ball to him.
Abbott in the lane, loses the basketball. We're going to have a scramble for it. We're going to have a tie-up, and second consecutive turnover by the Zebras. Going to give it back to John Glenn. 2:16 to play. In the third quarter, we're tied at 31. John Glenn with the basketball. Runyon will bring it up the floor for John Glenn. And Strong will cross the timeline right, back to Runyon in the center circle. Runyon holds, now left side to Haddon. Rochester still in that zone defense to Runyon, and we're going to have another illegal screen on John Glenn.
Wow, that's the third, at least the third one tonight.
At least, you're right. Nate Young picks up a foul. A.J. Knotts back into the game, and Lee to check out. 2:02 to play. In the third quarter, we're tied at 31 here at Rochester High School. Zebras with the basketball.
I don't have a Young on my roster.
He is number 40.
It's not what the roster says.
Listen to me. Reinhold at the free throw line. Now the elbow, now in the paint, jump stop. Kicks it out to Holland on the right wing, and now we're going to have a 3-second violation against the Zebras. Going to give it back to John Glenn. So John Glenn will get it back. And walks it through the center circle, does Strong. Strong against the 2-3 zone, over the top to Runyon. Runyon backs it out to the volleyball line, just about had it picked. Over the top to Bennett. Well, over the top and intercepted by Bennett to Holland. His layup is good, and the Zebras up 33-31. 1:20 to play in the third.
Runyon was a lot more active in the first quarter than what he's been the last two quarters for John Glenn. He's more content now to stand back behind the arc and wait for an open three.
So John Glenn with the basketball. Rochester up by 2 with a minute to play in the third. Running into the corner to Strong. 3 for the Falcons is good. And now John Glenn back up 34-33. Reinhold across the timeline, 52 seconds. High on the left side to Abbott. Brett with the basketball and just holds at the volleyball line. Corner to Holland. His 3 on the way from the baseline is good. And Rochester up by 2 at 36-34. 39 seconds.
Holland now with 10.
Runyon against the 2-3 zone. Runs from wing to wing. Now to Haddon. Down low, tipped away and stolen by Knotts. A.J. Knotts to Abbott. 25 seconds. Rochester with a 2-point lead with the third quarter coming to an end. Abbott got to get it across the timeline and finally does against Runyon with 15 seconds. Works to the right elbow and now coach. Oh, and he steps out of bounds before the timeout. No. He didn't get a timeout.
Yeah.
Timeout, Rochester. It's a 30. You're listening to Zebra Basketball, 92.1 WROI. Seconds to play in the third quarter. Rochester up 36-34. And they'll have the basketball out of bounds right in front of their own bench going to our right. Brad Thomas, I'm David Musselman. Abbott will look to trigger it in around Runyon. Abbott still looking. Throws it away. Picked off by John Glenn. Strong. Leaner on the way is good with 9. We're tied at 36 with 8. The pass comes into Bennett with 5. Bennett with 3 from the left wing. Good! After 3, the Zebras lead 39-36. You're listening to Zebra Basketball, 92.1 WROI. Back at Rochester High School, Zebras will start the fourth quarter with a 3-point lead as Gavin Bennett, you know, they haven't been using him right all year.
No, apparently
you need to just let him stand outside the 3-point arc about 5 feet behind the line, just let him chuck it.
Well, if he didn't have 14 points in the paint, I'd agree with you.
Zebras start with the basketball going to our right, 39-36 lead right now. Holland down low to Bennett. Gavin is fouled on the reach in. So I just talked to Kyle McLaughlin, head coach of the 8th grade. And they, like I said, won tonight in the Running Rivers game. They defeated Mechanical 57-21. Bryce Abbott, fair night, 24 points, 15 boards.
Wow, yeah.
And now they will play Manchester in the semis at North Miami on Saturday, maybe. And John Glenn commits another foul, this time on A.J. Knotts, and we'll try it again, baseline left.
A foul on Barker, his third.
Abbott looks triggered in. Brett baseline left, looks to get it in, does to Holland. 3 from the left baseline, in and out, no good. Rebound fought for. Runyon comes out of there with it. Rochester up 39-36, 20 seconds gone in the third. Barker, strong, back to Barker in the left wing. He gives top of the key to Haddon. Back to Barker, high on the left side. And now we're going to have another illegal screen on John Glenn. Another turnover on the Falcons.
That's Young, his second foul.
I think that's a second illegal screen, too.
Yeah.
7.5 minutes to play in the basketball game. Rochester up 39-36. Rochester's basketball going to our right against the man-to-man defense. Knotts in the right wing. A.J. holds above his head, gives to Reinhold. Jordan leaner off the glass. High off the glass is no good, and Runyon grabs the board. I'm okay with that shot. I like it.
Yeah, it was a good shot.
Outside to Strong, hesitates, goes to the baseline, cut off by the double team, high on the left side to Runyon. Runyon holds, a minute gone in the fourth quarter. Rochester up 39-36. In their center circle now is Barker. Barker works in the left wing against Rochester's 2-3 zone. Barker gives to Runyon at the left elbow, loses the handle, but gives it to Strong. He'll fire a 3, left baseline's in and out, no good. Runyon's put back is good. Somebody would have put a butt on 5. 39-38, Rochester's lead down to 1. Holland steps back behind the arc in the left corner, gives him to cutting Reinhold, outside to Abbott, near the timeline. Left side to Holland, 3 on the way for the Zebras is in and out, no good. Rebound fought for. John Glenn comes out of there with it. As Barker gives, make that Young, gives to Runyon, and the Falcons run. Strong in the left wing, back to Runyon, top of the key. Now the center circle to Barker. Then Perez will come back in with 3 fouls. Barker left side. Looking down low, but gives to Strong in the baseline. Behind the arc to Barker, top to Runyon. 39-38, Rochester. Strong, nice defense by Bennett. Outside to, oh, he traveled.
Yeah.
Runyon, right elbow jumper over Holland is in and out, no good. Knotts with the rebound. A.J. clears to Abbott. Rochester brings it up the floor. Ooh, I think Holland maybe traveled a little bit too. 39-38. Holland in the center circle for the Zebras. Works against Haddon. To Abbott, feeds down low to Bennett, and he is fouled hard by Young. That's going to be his third. I'm telling you, there's not many kids in the state that's going to be able to take Bennett one-on-one.
Yeah. The hard part's just trying to get the ball down low to him.
Lee, Perez back in. Bennett and Abbott comes out. A.J. Knotts baseline left. Rochester up 39-38, 5:40 to play in the game. Knotts gets it to Holland. Outside to Reinhold. Jordan stands behind the arc. Now top of the key to Lee, left side. To A.J. Knotts. Bounce pass to Holland. Holland in traffic gets the basketball to Lee. Back to Holland, left wing. Down low to Ben Perez. Backs his way in. Swatted out of bounds by Runyon. And it'll stay with Rochester on the far sideline. I like it. Maybe a head fake, ball fake. Get Runyon up off his feet and then put it in and get the foul. I know, hindsight's 20/20, right? Holland will look to trigger it in on the far side. At the timeline to Knotts. A.J. against Barker. Drives it right. Here comes the double team. Loses the basketball. Lee's right there to pick it up. Wilson Lee at the free throw line. Out to Holland in the left wing. And now we're going to have a legal screen on the Zebras, and John Glenn going to get it back. Not her sure. Is it Ben Perez picks up foul number 4.
Yeah.
And it won't be too much longer until Coach Reinhold will go back to Gavin Bennett. 5 minutes to play in the game. 39-38, Rochester on command. Lob pass to Runyon. Leaner on the way. We're going to have a foul coming. Is that going to be on Perez? If so, that's going to be 5. He called a block, so I think it is going to be on Perez. It is.
Perez, yep.
So Runyon will go to the line to shoot 2. And Gavin Bennett will come in for Perez, I believe. He will. So Ben Perez takes it in the nose, and he's whistled for the foul. Doesn't quite seem fair, does it?
Yeah.
So Alec Runyon at the line for 2. First one on the way for the senior is good, and we're tied at 39. Zach Deshawn will come in, and he'll replace A.J. Knotts for the Zebras. 2 ticks under 5 to play in the third. We're tied at 39. One more for Runyon and John Glenn. Runyon's second one on the way. Boy, hits it front of the rim, hits the backboard, and goes through.
That's his 25th point.
And now John Glenn back up by 1 at 40-39. Here comes a little half-court trap by the Falcons. Over the top to Bennett. Right baseline. Drives hard. He's fouled by Haddon. And that's going to send the Zebras to the line to shoot 1 in the bonus.
So Haddon picks up his first.
Min 4:49 to play in the fourth quarter. John Glenn up 40-39. Gavin Bennett with 1 in the bonus. First one for the senior is no good, too hard. And the rebound by Barker and John Glenn. Barker gives off to Strong. Left side of the floor. Rochester still in that 2-3 zone, now in the center circle. Strong fakes it inside, out to Barker. Looking down low to Runyon, can't find him. Now left side to Strong. Wilson Lee just runs through the screen of Haddon, and it's going to be out of bounds, too.
So Lee picks up his first.
It's probably been a couple of months since he's hit somebody that hard.
Right.
Barker will look to get it in. 4.5 to play in the game. John Glenn by 1 at 40-39. Haddon, left side to Barker, to Runyon. Runyon has it knocked away from behind, picked up by Reinhold. Ahead to Holland for the lead. Right-handed layup is good. 41-40 Rochester. 4:15 to play in the game. Haddon through the center circle. 2-3 zone for the Zebras. Barker in the left wing. Right wing pass to Haddon for 3. Make that Strong for 3. No good. The put back by Runyon is no good, but a foul coming on Reinhold, and Runyon will go back to the line to shoot 2.
Reinhold picks up his third.
Alec Runyon will back to the line to shoot 2. So the first one on the way for Runyon is good. And he'll have 1 more. Brad Thomas, I'm David Musselman. Well, Runyon went through a stretch there of, maybe 3 in a row he missed and hasn't missed since.
Right.
Runyon's second one for the lead. No good.
Jinxed him.
And a rebound to the offense. Strong in the paint. Goes to the basket. Loses the basketball to bounds. It'll go back to Rochester. Nope. One official says Rochester. The other says John Glenn. They're going to converge, and they're going to say last touch by Rochester, and Glenn will keep it. Under 4 to play in the game. We're tied at 41 here at Rochester High School. Barker will look to trigger it in. Over the top to Runyon in the paint. Runyon backs it out and resets for John Glenn to the volleyball line. Works to the right wing. Now to Barker high on the right side. 41, cross-court pass to Runyon. Down low to Young. Lung, Leaner, locked out of bounds off of Young's legs, and it'll go back to Rochester. He has it stripped and then kicked out of bounds on his way up. 3:45 to play in the game. Rochester and John Glenn tied at 41 here at Rochester High School, as Wallace will come back into the next opportunity for the Falcons. Holland in the center circle against the man-to-man defense. Left side to Deshawn. Deshawn, a couple of dribbles to his right, picks up his dribble now. He's got to get rid of it. Over the top to Bennett. Gavin to Wilson. Wilson Lee to Runyon. Ball tipped away. Ball loose on the floor. Gavin Bennett rolling around, gets away with, before he gets out of bounds, gets into Lee. Outside to Holland. I like it. Man, I like his hustle. Holland, Leaner on the way. We're going to have a charge. Yep. Alec Holland will pick up foul number 3.
Well, it was a good move. He was aggressive to the basket. He had a small opening, but the defense collapsed when he come into the paint and was able to get set up before he made his move.
So back into the game is Wallace, and Young sits down. 3 minutes to play in the game. We're tied at 41. And the Falcons of the basketball. Strong runs the point for John Glenn. Matt Strong, a 6'2 junior. Crosses through the center circle against Rochester's 2-3 zone. Now backs it out to the timeline on the right wing. Out the volleyball line.
They're going to spread out the floor a little bit, see if they can't create some lanes.
Runyon, jump pass to Strong in the left baseline. Strong around the defense. Back to Runyon in front of the scores table at the volleyball line. Back to Strong, wide open three is short. The rebound tipped around, and Deshaun tips it out of bounds. And it should, woo!
It's a white ball.
It's going to be white ball. Deshaun tipped it out of bounds clearly. And nobody's going to correct the official that called white. And it's going to stay with Rochester. Deshaun is the only one that got a finger on the basketball.
They're all talking right now. All the officials are talking with each other.
One official's pretty adamant it did go off of John Glenn, and I believe the other one is saying it went off of Rochester. That's the right call.
Yeah.
The right call is it was off Deshaun. And so John Glenn will get it back. Runyon will look to trigger it in. Now John Glenn will use a timeout. It will be a 30. You're listening to Zebra Basketball, 92.1 WROI.
30 seconds on timeout.
After the John Glenn timeout, the Falcons will have the basketball going to our left as Runyon will look to trigger it in at the scores table. Holland, Reinhold, Deshaun, Bennett, and Lee on the floor for the Zebras. And then Strong loses the basketball. Alec Holland does a smart thing, falling out of bounds, saves it underneath his own basket. And then John Glenn gets a loose ball. That's a smart play by a veteran point guard by Alec Holland.
He was falling out of bounds. He had to save it. He just threw it back towards the Rochester basket, hoping one of his teammates could track it down.
Strong, leaner in the lanes, no good. A lot of contact, no foul. And Zach Deshaun to the rebound. Deshaun gives to Holland. Rochester looking for another lead. We're tied at 41, 2 to play in the game. Holland against Haddon. Takes him right, takes him in the paint, gives to Bennett. Step back and shoot a three, young man. Ball loose on the floor. Ball still loose, picked up by Strong. Strong goes to the basket, runs over Holland, or make that Reinhold. And is the basket good? Is the basket good? I believe it's going to be good as the ball went in. The ball went in. The official calling for 2 free throws. Oh, okay. So he's going to shoot 2 free throws, but the basket went in. The ball went in. It should be 1 free throw and a good basket, right?
Yeah,
I mean, if he was shooting, the ball went in.
You're right, yeah.
The ball went in,
everybody's
and if he's going to get 2 free throws, then the bucket's got to be good. It is.
Yeah.
So John Glenn up now, 43-41, and Strong with the line to shoot 1 with 1:47 to play in the game. Strong eyes the free throw, lets it fly, and it's good. Jordan Reinhold, by the way, picked up foul number 4 with that one. 3-point lead now for Glenn with 100 seconds to play in the game. Zach Deshaun runs the point right in front of Coach Reinhold. Works hard to the right baseline. Gives to Holland, 3, and the tie right wing is no good.
That went all the way in the cylinder and came back out.
And John Glenn touches it last, it goes out of bounds, it'll go back. How many times has that happened tonight for Alec Holland? At least 4 times.
Yeah.
Rochester keeps the possession, baseline left. 90 seconds to play in the game, down by 3. Reinhold in left corner, top to Holland. Alec fakes the 3, gives to Bennett. Bennett against Runyon. Couple of dribbles to his left, picks up the basketball, now to Lee in the right wing, gives in the corner to Deshaun. Zach Deshaun in the minute 23, back to Lee. Lean out of Holland near the timeline. Out to Deshaun. Zach runs the baseline. Down low to Bennett. Ball loose on the floor. Picked up by Runyon. And Gavin Bennett's going to pick up the foul. And Alec Runyon will go to the line to shoot one of the bonus. Leading by 3 with 1:13 to play in the game.
That'll be the first on Bennett.
His first. Team 9. At the line shooting 1-1.
Tough to handle a pass at your feet.
Yeah.
Alec Runyon at the line for 2. Flies the first one, and it's good. Actually, one of the bonus, but it's going to turn into 2 now. And John Glenn back by 4 with 1:13 to play in the basketball game. Second for Runyon is no good. And Bennett with a rebound. And the outlet pass, we're going to have a foul on the outlet pass by John Glenn. I believe it's going to be on Wallace. And Alec Holland will walk to the other end to shoot one of the bonus.
Wallace pick up his second.
Rochester has 3 timeouts left. Alec Holland at the line for one of the bonus. 1:10 to play in the basketball game. Rochester down by 4. Holland has one of the bonus. First one for the seniors, in and out, no good. And Gavin Bennett rises up over the back of Runyon and fouls him. And that's going to send Alec Runyon to the line to shoot 2 this time
So Bennett
for the
picked up
Falcons.
his second. Yeah, that time Bennett just put his hand on the shoulder of Runyon and tried to get a little push me up off
Has
his
anybody
shoulder.
else shot free throws for John Glenn?
Couple.
Okay. Well, we know Runyon can hit them. 4-point lead for John Glenn. First one for Runyon is good. And now the lead is 5. Macknick back into the game. Barker comes out. 69 seconds to play in the game. Rochester down by 5. One more coming for Runyon as Rochester will use a timeout. It will be a 60. You're listening to Zebra Basketball, 92.1 WROI. .69 seconds to play in the game. John Glenn leads 46-41. After the timeout, Runyon will be at the free throw line for Glenn, looking to push this lead back to 6.
Runyon 11 of 17 from the free throw.
17 attempts.
Yeah, he's got 28 points.
Some teams don't even get that a game.
And he's got one more to go yet.
2 timeouts apiece. 2 for Rochester, 2 for Glenn. Runyon with one more free throw for the Falcons. 1:09 to play in the game. It's been a tight one for a while. Second one is short. Rebound by Runyon and Glenn. And now John Glenn will look to just run some clock, leading by 5 with under a minute to play in the game. Macknick to Wallace. Wallace then is fouled by Reinhold, and that's 5 on Jordan. And that's going to send Wallace back to the line to shoot 2.
So now both Reinhold and Perez have fouled out for Rochester.
55.5 to play in the game.
Wallace looking for his first points from the free throw line.
Bennett will come back into the game. Abbott will come back into the game, and Reinhold is done. Coach Reinhold's still on the officials a little bit. I think the best thing for the official to do is just zip it. Take it and zip it.
Just walk away.
Yep. Wallace's first free throw is good. And John Glenn back by 6 at 47-41. They got Daniel Wallace, a 6-foot senior, at the line to shoot one more for John Glenn, looking to push this lead to 7. Second one on the way is good again, 48-41. I think John Glenn's biggest lead was, 12 or 14 early in the first quarter.
Right, yeah.
Full court press by Glenn.
Rochester had a really good second quarter where they tied the score back up and cut it to within 2 or 3. And
Holland down low to Lee. 10-footer is short, and the rebound to Runyon with 42. And now Strong is fouled by Abbott, and that's going to send Strong to the line to shoot 2 freebies with 41 seconds to play in the game. Rochester down by 7 at 48-41. Yeah, John Glenn on a 7-0 run right now. And it's all been from the line.
you're right, it has been. They've just got 2 field goals in this quarter.
Free throw for Strong is good. One more coming from Matt Strong, the 6'2 junior, looking to push this lead to 9. Second one on the way is good again.
Reinhold and the official still talking over that last foul. The last 2 fouls, maybe.
40 seconds. Abbott across the timeline, works to the right wing. 35, jump stop in the lane, kicks it out to Holland. Holland for 3, left wing. In and out, no good again. Holy cow. How many of those can you shoot like that? You just can't buy a bucket tonight. That poor kid,
Wow.
that thing, that's about the 3rd or 4th one. It's been down, and the rim spit it out. 26 seconds to play in the game. 9-point lead for Glenn.
Abbott picks up the foul.
And that's 4 on Abbott. Matt Strong was just there a couple of seconds ago and hit both. First one for the junior is, oh yeah, those go in.
That one.
Holland can't buy a bucket down here, and those go in.
That one rolled around the rim and double banked, I think, didn't it?
I think you're right. 10-point lead now for Glenn. One more coming for Strong. Second one is good again. 52-41. Full court press by Glenn. Holland pushes for Rochester with 22 through the center circle. And the pass to Abbott is knocked out of bounds by Strong with 18 seconds to play in the game. Rochester down by 11 at 52-41. Did the official just acknowledge the crowd? Are you kidding me? Somebody jawing out even the crowd, and he acknowledged him. 13 seconds. Abbott for 3 is short. And that'll pretty much wrap it up. 52-41, the final here tonight. John Glenn defeats Rochester at Rochester High School. Post-game show coming up next, 92.1 WROI.
Our community is bustling with new energy and purpose. There are new opportunities on the horizon, new homes, new businesses, new infrastructure. Your local Fulton County Chamber of Commerce is part of a coalition spearheading new efforts to revitalize our community. Come explore our resources, our workshops, our networking events. Come see our new commitment to you and your business. The Fulton County Chamber of Commerce. Join or renew today. Join and succeed.
Back at Rochester High School, the final tonight, 52-41. And in case you're just joining us, it was much, much closer than 11 points.
Yeah, Rochester actually had a 3-point lead at the start of the fourth quarter, and it was tied pretty much most of the fourth quarter. And then John Glenn got a couple buckets late, and Rochester was kind of put into a foul situation, and Glenn shot pretty darn well from the free throw line.
Yeah, I agree. That is the difference.
Yeah, absolutely it is. For John Glenn, Macknick with 2, Wallace with 2, Harness with 6, Strong with 14. He was perfect from the line, 5 for 5. And Alec Runyon led all scorers tonight with 28 points. He had 11 of 18 free throws by himself. The Falcons were 22 of 29 from the free throw line. You win by 11 and you get 22 from the free throw line.
Yeah, that's a big
the
deal.
Difference. For Rochester, Knotts with 2, Reinhardt with 2, Deshawn with 2, Ben Perez with 6, Alec Holland with 12, and Gavin Bennett led the Zebras with 17 points. And Rochester just 4 of 6 from the free throw line. In the fourth quarter alone, John Glenn 12 of 15 from the line. So, yeah, any way you want to look at it, free throws were the story of the ballgame.
Yeah, you're right. The lack thereof, and John Glenn hit a ton of them, shot a ton of them.
Shot a ton, made a ton, yep.
52-41, John Glenn defeats the Rochester Zebras tonight. The JV game, John Glenn defeated Rochester 77-36. You know, we're coming into that game, and we're kind of watching that game, and our JV's pretty good.
Yeah.
And John Glenn just put a whipping on him, and I'm thinking, holy cow, what's a varsity game going to be like if this JV game went like this? But you know what? Credit Rochester. They played well for about 3.5, 4 quarters. Well, 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters, and still looking to finish a basketball game, and I think we're 1 quarter away from doing that.
Yeah, we had really 2 good quarters tonight in the second and the third quarters. And the first quarter we kind of got off to a slow start. We had to catch up and make up the difference in the second quarter. And in the third quarter we managed to take the lead in the ball game, and we just wasn't able to bring that same effort back out in the fourth quarter. We just had the 1 field goal in the fourth quarter.
You know, I think there was a point where Runyon hit a free throw, then missed a free throw after being up maybe 3 or 4, and we had an opportunity to grab that rebound, and we couldn't get it.
Yeah.
And then the next possession, they are shooting free throws again. Now we're up by 6, and it was just we just couldn't. And then Alec Holland, good heavens, Alec Holland, how many shots did he have from behind the arc tonight that was literally down and came out?
Yeah, down in the cylinder and spit it back out. Unfortunately, you can't even get half a point for that. You know.
Yeah, half a point at this point would help.
Right, yeah.
52-41 the final. We're going to take one more break and we'll wait for Coach Reinhold to make it out of the locker room. Again, you're listening to Zebra Basketball, 92.1 WROI.
Our community is bustling with new energy and purpose. There are new opportunities on the horizon, new homes, new businesses, new infrastructure. Your local Fulton County Chamber of Commerce is part of a coalition spearheading new efforts to revitalize our community. Come explore our resources, our workshops, our networking events. Come see our new commitment to you and your business. The Fulton County Chamber of Commerce. Join or renew today. Join and succeed.
Back at Rochester High School, again, the final tonight, John Glenn over Rochester, 52-41. And Rex, I tell you, 3.5 quarters, you were right there. Loved your fight. Man, Gavin Bennett, I tell you, he worked so hard inside with and without the basketball. And, man, I enjoyed seeing him play. And here's the problem this year. I think he's been too close to the bucket. You know, let him step out there behind the arc and just check him from three. I mean, he's what, 1 for 1? I mean, he's shooting from 100% out there, right?
Hey, Brad, I'm going to let him coach from now on if he's got this figured out. That's great. Great analysis. No, it was just it was a great play by Gavin at the end of the corner just to make something happen. We called a timeout to get a play going, and it kind of broke down on us. And you know, we recognized and go. But, yeah, Gavin maybe been too close to the shame at Christmas, too close to the basket.
You know, and speaking of threes, Rex, Alec Collin, we were just talking about how many shots went down, was actually touching some nylon and came back out.
I know. You know, and this thing we pointed out, we were up 41-39 with 3 to go. You know, and they go on a 13-0 run, but, you know, I think 8 of those were free throws with it. And you know, we lost focus. We pulled them out. We were running a spread to get them open down the middle, and we had a good drive, and we had a turnover, which resulted in an and one at the other end, and then we were chasing after that. And when we came back, though, we had 3 really good looks that were in and out, and you know, it's just it's frustrating. You know, the kids worked that hard, and then to get to that close, and then, you know, it was one play. It was really one play that put us down 3 with, you know, 2 to go, and then we were playing catch up from that point on all the way through. So, you know, our effort was good. I thought our energy was great. I thought our defense was tremendous, because they were in the 40s until they're just at the very end, you know, and we had a foul trying to get the ball back off of it, you know, so our defense and energy was great. I thought we covered. That's the best we've played defensively. Our rotations, I thought, you know, all the way through, we got down 11-0, and the next thing you know, we got ourselves a ball game, you know, coming into it. So, you know, our rotations were good. Our energy was great tonight. We just had one spot there where we had a hiccup, and then, you know, we were playing catch-up, which was tough to do against a strong, athletic, you know, Glenn team.
That shows me how far this team has come. You know, early on in the season, you're down 11, 12, 13-0, 13-0 in that first quarter. They're cashing in. They don't know how to get back in that.
Yeah.
But because they fought all year, because they're learning as we're playing, you got back into it. Not only did you tie it, but you took the lead several times.
You took the lead and kind of built a little bit of a lead. I think we had a 5-point lead there at one point going on to it, you know, and still a lot of clock left, you know, in the ball game. So, you know, it was you know, our effort I thought Brett and Alec coming off the bench tonight did a really good job of bringing some energy. A.J. Knotts in rotation, his close downs were great from the outside. I think it was just a great effort, by our guys coming in, whether we were on the bench or not. I had guys, yelling out plays and yelling out stuff that was going, and that's fun basketball. That's everybody engaged and everybody's going on, and everybody contributed, and that's the thing. And whether it was on the floor or not, we had everybody engaged, ready to go, and we're making progress. We're getting there. Glenn's a solid team. We knew they were because they played a tough schedule.
Yeah.
And, the Runyon kid has 28, and he was 11 of 18 from the free throw line. Anyway, he's 11 of 18 from the free throw line. So, kid's smooth. He really is. He's 6'5". He's strong. He's athletic, and that's where we're looking here in a year or so. Some of our guys, our young guys, playing against that competition and getting ourselves ready for, a late season run and, on into the next year or two of, the program going forward. So it was a good effort tonight. It's not where we want it to be, but with 3 minutes to go, we're tied, with a team that's that quality of opponent that, speaks volume to our kids' characters and their fight being down 11-0 and then
love the fight
moving forward. So, we just, I had a couple of questions, clarify some things after the game, and then, we let them go because there's really nothing that you can say, after that, after we clarified a couple of things to them that, just keep your heads up and keep battling. We got Wabash coming in on Friday and, Triton and Peru next week. So CMA game has been moved back. Not quite sure where that's going to be at. So, we've got some winnable games down the stretch, and hopefully these guys keep working hard and staying positive. We'll make the turn.
I think you hit it in the head. On the pregame show, in the pregame show interview, you told me you had an opportunity here to rattle off 3 or 4 or 5 in a row.
Yeah.
And I think if they give this effort Friday night, for sure, and if we give this effort the rest of the year, I think that we can sneak up on a lot of teams in the sectional.
We can, with that kind of effort and energy and our rotations, I thought were good. So just keep going. We got to find some ways to get a few more points, from time to time. But, we had some good looks inside. We just didn't finish, So it's there. We just got to work on our offense. And, this time of year, it's hard to work on everything you'd like to work on in practice. You get in because you only got about an hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes.
Right.
They're at that time of the year. If you keep them too long, they lose focus and, want to, lose their legs because we're going to go 2 to 3 games a week from here on out. So it's that balance, and it's tough as a coach to find that balance where you're, on them and you want them to practice at that level and then, come out and then play, the next night, or, you play on a Tuesday and you get, Wednesday to kind of recoup and kind of get the legs underneath of them, and Thursday to go over some stuff, and then boom, play Friday, and then, kind of do the same thing Saturday, off Sunday, and then Monday play Tuesday. Right. So, finding the balance with young guys and getting them to take care of themselves and, the weather the way it is, and, it's just keeping everything in focus. It's a hard act to balance, and like I said, our kids are battling, and we're laughing. Gavin's 1 of 2 from the arc this year, and he's hooting and hollering afterwards, and kind of rubbing us with that, and it's just you leave, and it's hard to be mad at them sometimes just because they're a goofy bunch of guys, and it was a great effort. It's just it came down to one play that we got ourselves behind, and kind of had to battle back. But, Glenn had good composure and the strength. And they're strong kids, to hit some free throws down the stretch and close it out. They know who they want, at the line. And so we got Alec fouled, and he was there. And, just a fuzz short.
Yeah.
And, that's nothing to be, shaking your head at. And the kids know and can see the progress that we've made since that Christmas turn. We're going in the right direction, finding our identity, where we're at. And that toughness and that grit that we need to have to compete, throughout the rest of the season and then on the post play, because we've talked about our sectional, and it's a gauntlet.
Loaded.
It's loaded up. But last year was the same thing, going up to South Bend at a 3A sectional with Glenn and St. Joe and Marion and CMA, New Prairie. All those guys. Jimtown were not New Prairie, but Jimtown was in there. Everybody was loaded up, with them, and they had 15 plus wins, and so it just speaks to the quality of this is the area, what we have, teams last year and this year, going into a 2A sectional. It's a good sectional and to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of good things to build on for tonight, I believe, and we'll talk to you again Friday night before the Wabash game.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Rex. Again, Zebra head coach Rex Reinholding in the final tonight. 52-41, John Glenn defeats the Rochester Zebras here at home. The JV game went to John Glenn over Rochester 77-36. Jacob Nye had 8 in that contest for the JVers. Okay, John, thank you for your time back at the radio station. For Brad Thomas, I'm David Musselman. We'll talk to you Friday night. See you.
Bye.